It was 2 days before the Passover, and the festival of unleavened bread. The chief priests and the scribes were looking for a way to arrest Jesus by stealth and kill him. For they said, "Not during the festival, or there may be a riot among the people." While he was at Bethany, in the house of Simon the leper, as he sat at the table, a woman came with an alabaster jar of very costly ointment of nard, and she broke open the jar and poured the ointment on his head. But some were there who said to one another in anger, "Why was this ointment wasted in this way? For this ointment could have been sold for more than 300 denarii, and the money given to the poor." And they scolded her. But Jesus said, "Let her alone. Why do you trouble her? She has performed a good service for me. For you always have the poor with you, and you can show kindness to them whenever you wish, but you will not always have me. She has done what she could. She has anointed my body beforehand for its burial. Truly I tell you, wherever the good news is proclaimed in the whole world, what she has done will be told in remembrance of her." Once again, Mark uses a frame for the main story. The frame is the need for a betrayer and Judas' adoption of that role set around the main incident of the woman and the jar of perfume. The religious authorities want Jesus executed, but are deterred from overt action because the whole crowd was spellbound by his teaching. And following his prophetic and symbolic actions in first his entrance into Jerusalem to establish God's non-violence against imperial domination, and second his entrance into the temple to establish God's justice against high priestly collaboration, the crowd currently stands with Jesus against their own religious authorities who oppose him. The religious authorities need to act in stealth to kill him, for they said, "Not during the Passover, or there may be a riot among the people." They cannot arrest him during the festival, and after it he would be gone. They give up, unless they can find out where he is apart from the crowd, and that leaves what happens later hanging in the air for the arrival of Judas. One of the things about Mark's Gospel is Mark's relentless criticisms of the disciples for being a bit thick. All too often they simply don't get it. Mark's story of failed discipleship is his gift to us today. We must think of Lent as a penitential period, because we know that, like the first disciples, we would like to avoid the implication of the journey with Jesus. We would like its Holy Week conclusion to be about the interior rather than the exterior life, about heaven rather than about earth, about the future rather than the present, and above all, about religion safely and securely quarantined from all the wider manifestations of political life. Confronting violent political power and unjust religious collaboration is dangerous in all times and places. Just look today at how the African churches are treating LGBT Christians as a simple contemporary example of that. Mark's criticism of the disciples is used to good effect, as it is now set against the actions of the unnamed woman and her alabaster jar of perfume. She alone seems to have understood Jesus' prophecies, has believed them, and acted accordingly. She is, for Mark, the first believer, and for us, the first Christian. She believed the word of Jesus before any discovery of an empty tomb, hence the unique praise for her as the first believer and model leader. She represents the perfect leader-disciple, and is in contrast to Judas, who represents the worst one possible. It is worth noting that Mark does not deal at all with Judas' motivation, and he is always referred to as Judas, one of the 12. His betrayal is simply the worst example of how those closest to him failed him so badly in Jerusalem. That is a sobering thought for all disciples today. And so Wednesday ends, and the plot has been set. Loving God, we who are quicker to judge than to bless fall silent at the extravagance of your grace. As we are confronted again with the depth of human wickedness and the greater depth of your divine compassion, may we not remain unmoved. As Christ's arms are stretched out and his body lifted up, may we confess our part in the sin of the world, repent of it, know the reality of your forgiveness, and be forever transformed.